federal assistance by 5 p.m. today. And it appears that we're talking about everything from aid to nonprofit organizations to funding for universities. This could even affect loans to small businesses and grants to state and local governments. Now, in this memo, the Office of Management and Budget at the White House orders all federal agencies to assess all of their programs and activities to ensure that they comply with President Trump's recent executive order.
He shut it down. He said nobody sends. Yo, this is like when they tell you that nobody leaves or comes in this building. Like he done locked it down and said they can't hire. They got a federal freeze on hiring. They now have a federal freeze on funding. They have a federal freeze on immigration. So he's in freeze mode. He is free. He said, shut it all down. Everything. Don't send nobody shit. Don't send Ukraine shit. And don't send I can't, we can in the city shit. Don't send nobody nothing. Okay? That's what he said. Okay. In case y'all missed it. Because this stuff happened so fast, and we focused on illegal immigration and all that kind of stuff, and not realizing that he just shut down the whole funding system for everybody. Everybody, not just immigrants, all of y'all. Okay. I think Social Security is still okay, though. For Social Security people, you guys are probably fine. But some of these other programs, we'll see how it ends up, but let's
must be temporarily frozen. The memo specifically mentions financial assistance for foreign aid, quote, woke gender ideology, and the Green New Deal. The White House estimates the U.S. spent $3 trillion on federal assistance last year, though how they came up with that number is not exactly clear. Okay. The memo states this will not impact Social Security, Medicare, or assistance provided directly to individuals.
There we go. Well, Nancy, this is about government entities. Did you hear that last part? This will not affect assistance that goes to individuals. This is a government issue. There is money going out of here that he don't know about, and he said don't send nobody nothing till we look at these books. Don't send shit. I don't know if these companies are umbrella companies or if you're invested in them. I don't know what the hell's going on. So we're just going to shut it all down. And then we're going to come back to that conversation once we've had a chance to look at all of these things that we're funding. So Ukraine and them don't get no more money, which is, to me, that's a good thing. I think we sent them enough. But that also means Israel don't get no more money. That means Gaza don't get nothing. Nobody get nothing. China, none of y'all getting shit from the U.S. for a hot second because that's federal money. So I hope everybody understands that we are under the freeze time. This is the freeze segment. When Trump won the first time, this was the Muslim ban. Remember that? The Muslim ban where he just shut everything down, but then he had to open it back up because they were like, that's against the Constitution and da-da-da-da-da. And so things open back up slowly. This is what he does. He's throwing the big piece of chicken at the wall, and it's busting up into pieces, smaller pieces of chicken. And we're picking up these little bits, but at the end of the day, he's still got his bone in his hand, right? Tamara, you're right, though. Look after your own first. But that's all in the dependence of what you see as your own, right? Some people are biracial. Some people are triracial, right? So what is your own? Your own is the American citizen or the citizen of any place, the person that has rights to whatever space that they're in because of where they're from and where they live. I'm tracked by this government. Everything I do, I got a social security number, got a driver's license ID number. My picture is in all types of stuff. Your country is your people. Okay? Because when I go to the DMV, I stand in the same line as the white guy. And he gets just as annoyed with the length of that line as I do. If that ain't equality, I don't know what it is. Okay? We all got to wait in that same long-ass line when we go to Walmart. They don't have a whites-only line or the staff comes and grabs the white people out of the line and takes them to a different line. That's not how it works, guys. Now, there was a time where that was how it worked. It doesn't work like that anymore. So we're all here. I keep telling you, we all live here. Price of bacon goes up for me, it goes up for you. Okay? Price of gas goes down for me, it goes down for you. We all here. Countrymen, okay? So it's not about black and white. It's about broke and not broke. And I just want people to not be broke, because broke people do broke people shit. And broke people shit is dangerous, okay? But anyway, speaking of broke people, like I said, so he's decided that he would do this federal funding freeze. And I started digging into it, but there wasn't a lot of detail as to what it meant. So in addition to that freeze, you've got the freeze of the Department of Justice right here. So we've got the DOJ Civil Rights Division can't take on any new cases. They froze them too. So you can't take on any cases from this immigration situation. If somebody says that their constitutional civil rights were debated or somehow messed up, you can't bring it up. You can't bring no new cases to the Department of Justice for civil rights violations at this time. So you can't get no money. You can't get no justice. You just can't. Just go get your money how you going to get your money. But you're not going to get it out of them. That's what he's saying. You're not going to get it out of them. And see, talking about the price of meats and stuff. Like, yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. I want Trump to get through all of this goofy shit so we can get back to the cost of food. Because, yeah, deportation's cool. I'm not saying it's cool, but I'm just saying it's the thing that was the day one thing. But that did not affect gas, which directly affects me. Gas directly affects me. You get the gas price down, you got my vote. You got my vote if you get the gas price down. That's all you got to do. Because the price of energy is really the basis for everything. So I don't really understand why he's shutting everything down, but I believe it's because he thinks there are cases and organizations that are shady, and he needs to know how he can invest in them. I'm just playing. But he needs to know where the investments are going. And that makes sense. We don't want him to shut down the Civil Rights Division of the Department of Justice. But existing cases proceed. So the Memphis, Minneapolis, all that stuff, the consent decrees in Baltimore, all that kind of stuff is going to continue. So that doesn't stop anything that's already happened. It just stops them from starting new cases with this mass deportation thing going on. Because they could get stuff tied up in U.S. courts and we can't deport anybody. You see what I'm saying? So I think he did that to preemptively stop people from being able to slow down the process of deportation. Okay, that's just my thought. Y'all, I could be wrong. Let's see what we got here. Oh. So since we're talking about this deportation thing, right? Since everybody's all upset, black people need to stop, because we're going to talk about that. You need to stop. Like, I'm talking regular black people now. And you know what I mean when I say regular black people. Born in the USA, Social Security card having, you know, all that kind of thing. Been here for a couple generations. Probably come from the South somewhere or have some family down there. Like regular black people, right? This does not include you. This deportation does not include you. And if you want to fight for something, let's fight for the people that we do have here and the education of our children that's not being given to our kids. Let's fight for that. We're not going to fight for everybody else. And yes, it is great that it rained in LA. So I'm hoping for the best in that California thing, because it's a very expensive area. And rebuilding it is going to cost a bunch of money. That's why he put the federal freeze in. Yeah, he's making a lot of promises, but guess what? You won't get the money from here, baby. We got a federal freeze. You're going to have to get it from the state and the state taxes. Take it. He said it to Karen Bass. You got the same powers I do. You got executive money. You got all of that. And you're going to make these people wait 18 months so you can give them a contractor that you want, that you probably invested in, that's going to charge them $25,000 to do something they can do on their own. He's calling them out, but let's also call out the bullshit. You see what I'm saying? You cut off the federal money. So what if they do need FEMA money? That's a federal organization, so they can't ask for it because you can't give them no money. Gotcha, bitch. So this Tom Homan guy, he comes on because, like I said, I want to get everybody to calm down about mass deportation because it's going to go on for a while. I told you months ago it was going to be messy. As long as they're not killing people, I think we just need to let folks do their jobs the same way we let them arrest people for bullshit and we let them go, okay? So if we're not willing to fight for the justice system that the American people are getting, then I don't think we need to be up in arms about what's going on when they're shipping people out. You know how much it costs to fly that big-ass airplane somewhere with all that gas in it? That's American taxpayer money going into that, okay? They're not putting them on a Spirit flight. Anyway, so let's see what Tom Homan has to say here.
Look, that was the best monologue I heard you do in years. That was your straight on. I can't say it better myself. We got a 250,000 Americans dead from fentanyl across that open border. Where's the tears for them? I've met with hundreds of angels, moms and dads who were separated from their children because they buried them because they were killed by illegal alien. We got 500,000 children who are sex trafficked into this country, separated from their families, put in the hands of criminal cartels to be smuggled into the country. This administration can't find over 300,000. Where's the tears for them? Excellent monologue. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, I mean, how many children do we think are missing now? Some 350,000? How many known terrorists do we know are in this country, or do we even know? How many known cartel members are in the country, or do we even know, or gang members? Do you know?
We have no idea. We got 2.2 million known gotaways. We know because they're on video.
I'm going to pause this for 1 second. I don't like to be derailed by the chat, but I had a comment come in. Let's see. We got Psycho Black on trollage today. Psycho Black says, let's hope they remove anyone from America that doesn't look like Trump and his Nazi fellows. Why would you hope that? Do you not like sports, man? Imagine the damn NBA, NFL, and you pick it with no black people around. Imagine comedy with no black comics. Like, imagine America. It would be boring as shit. Like, just mayonnaise. You understand what I'm saying? It would just be mayonnaise and shit over here. So I appreciate your comment, but that smells like bullshit to me. So back to Tom Homan.
Drone traffic, essential traffic, 2.2 million people cross the border. We don't know who they are, where they came from, or why they're here. But they paid more to get away. They didn't want to turn themselves in and get a free airline ticket to the city of their choice, a free hotel room, 3 meals a day, free medical care. They paid more not to be fingerprinted, not to be vetted. That just scared the hell out of everybody. It scares the hell out of me.
Yeah, by the way, we're looking at Joint Base Andrews, Donald Trump departing on Air Force One. Sometimes, occasionally, the media is there. If he does take any questions, it looks like he's going straight to Marine One, or maybe walking past it. I'm not really sure. If he goes to the microphones, we will cover that live. You know, I'm watching you being interviewed, and it's a little bit surprising to me. But, you know, they're worried about the cost. Well, how much does it cost to feed and house and offer health care and education? And Kamala Harris wanted to give taxpayer-funded sex change operations to illegal immigrants. How much did that cost, Tom Homan?
All right, so nonetheless, so Tom Homan and all these folks, and yes, I'd watch Fox News, MSNBC. If you were here earlier in the show, I had CBS on there. So I look at all the news sources. So if the question is, why would I look at Fox News as a news source? The question is, why aren't you looking at all the news? Because these motherfuckers got a lot of us real confused. They're showing us cinema. Even with the deportation thing, it's all cinema. Just to get people pumped up. Like you said, to show the people what they voted for. You're right on that point. I'll give you that, Psycho Black. You are right on that point. Because some people wanted to see a hostile, you know, snatching people up. There's some folks that want blood. It just is what it is. And it's unfortunate, but there's some folks that want blood. And so they're doing this so that they can please those constituents. So you're right on that one, Psycho Black. You are right on that. So let me bring in our next piece here. Since we're talking about our immigration situation, this gentleman in the cinema of it, because I want you guys to start paying attention to the cinema. It's all cinema. I'm paying attention to the funds being frozen and programs that actually affect people like myself that don't have to worry about somebody coming to kick in the door, waving the 4-4, and told me that I can't stay here no more. Okay? That's not coming this direction. So I'm not going to concern myself with it because that's an absolute waste of my time. Okay? But since this one came across the timeline, this guy's very upset because his wife apparently got snatched up by an ICE raid here. And I'm going to let you hear his spiel. But I feel like it's cinema. I don't think it's real.
They turned off the cameras, excuse my language, and then they took my wife.
This man who wished not to be identified says his wife is from Venezuela and has lived in the United States for a few years.
Not to be identified. Your face is on the news, nigga.
Taken from this home. I'm told the two others were men who worked in construction. You see them here. This video, only 1 minute and 52 seconds long, we do not see his wife being removed from the home. But this is a picture of her that he keeps in his wallet. Her name is Vianis Ramirez, and he says she was in the process of becoming a United States citizen.
She already had a court date. She was good. Everything's good. He just came in and snatched her.
These are pictures from the Department of Homeland Security detaining other undocumented men and women in Broward County.
It's despicable what they're doing right now. It's very embarrassing.
Now, I don't know.
President Donald Trump arrived at his Trump National Golf Resort in Doral Saturday, set to host GOP leaders for a conference. This man hopes this message makes it to him.
I get a chance to talk to you, man. Yo, please, man, let's work something out. So you, man, let me keep my wife here in the United States, man. She deserves to be here, man.
ICE reports nearly 1,000 raids in the country on Sunday alone, which is up from just under 300 on Saturday. Here at the detention center in Miramar, things have been quiet for several hours, but we will continue to monitor this situation and bring you the developing news on raids in South Florida as they happen.
Now, look, that's a plus size girl. But she's kind of cute as a roundabout. You know what I'm saying? She's like a big Hershey kiss. Not like that other one earlier in the episode. I'm just saying, you know, you don't have to be morbidly obese. You can be big. It's okay. There's big women out here. Some people like them big. You know, some people like them big. So there's a market for big, but not as big as that other lady was. That was crazy. But here, let me be real. So ICE is doing their deportations now, right? And everybody's upset at the fact that they're taking certain people, right? And I get that because that was known. There's always going to be what they call collateral. I knew there was going to be collateral. That's why we discussed this months ago, just to make sure everybody knew what they were voting for. It's like, hey, you want mass deportation, you got to understand what that looks like what it really looks like. But I'm just going to say for this guy, he just doesn't really seem as concerned about his wife as he should be. And he's only got this one picture of her in the wallet. Like, she's been missing for a minute. Like, the back of a milk carton type of picture. Like, something just don't sit right with me. Like, you ain't have a picture on your phone of y'all at your anniversary? And how long has your wife been in the States that she's, you know, still hasn't had time to do all that? And why would they come just snatch her up out of your house and cut the cameras off like on some SWAT shit? What else are y'all doing in there? Like, since when are they spraying the Ring cameras on the ICE raids? Like, is that the thing they're doing now? That's a bit much. But yeah, we can't believe mass media, guys. We got to look at the cinema. This is the stage, and they're setting it. So for people that wanted to see families get broke up, for either the purpose of wanting blood, because they would rather see families get broken up, or they wanted to see families get broken up so they could say ha-ha to the people that voted for it, not knowing that most of the people that voted for the shit already knew that was going to happen. So they're like, oh yeah, you got another one. Gotta go. That's how they feel. So on this one, it's both sides. But what we have to keep in mind is this is the play. This is what they're going to keep on Front Street for a minute. Meanwhile, the DOJ is shut down. So these people really don't have a right to even stop anything with a legal process because they can't start a new case. So he shut down the funds to the FEMA people. He shut down the funds to any of these programs. He shut down the fact that they could even try a case with any of these programs. So he shut down their legal recourse in the process of getting rid of illegal migrants. And that, to me, that's a little unfair. Because there's, like this one dude was saying, that his lady had a legal process already set up and had an appointment or at least a court date or something like that. And I think if you're already doing the work to try to do it, then we can leave that alone until a later date. There's no priority to remove people who are actually trying the legal way to become citizens. They're just here still temporarily because they haven't been through the process. So that's my own way of thinking it. Some people don't care. If you're not a citizen, you got to go. That's how some people are. I'm like, if you're in the process or you're at least trying to do something, I think we should have a different conversation. I don't think it should be, let's just get rid of everybody. I don't know. But some of y'all voted for it. So some of y'all wanted that to happen, and it's happening, so there's no surprise there. So I'm not saying nothing. Like, folks are cool with it. So let's see, what was this other one? Oh, this was another one. Here's another one from the, I want to call it the Hollywood of media. So there was this guy, this Haitian dude. He's gone viral because he got picked up for being an illegal migrant, and he starts spouting out a bunch of stuff about Obama and Biden. So I'm going to let y'all check this out, okay?
I'm not going back to Haiti.
One of those threats is this illegal alien from Haiti. ICE says he's a gang member with 17 criminal convictions in recent years.
Trump, you feel me? Yo, Biden forever, bro. Thank Obama for everything that he did for me, bro.
First, Tom, when you see that
make
video,
sure y'all hitting
I'm
the
curious,
like button
what do you
too,
think?
man. Hit that like button, please.
Well, he's wrong. He's going back to Haiti.
That's all I need you to do.
That. And look, you know, I've said it on this network for 4 years. Joe Biden, you know, opened these borders on purpose. It wasn't a mismanagement. It wasn't incompetence. He knew exactly what he was doing. He made the promises while he was running for president, and he kept those promises. At least you got to give him credit for that. But yeah, they've opened this border up, and President Trump's going to secure the border, the highest level ever. You thought we had a secure border before? Watch what happens now. It'll be the tightest border in the history of this nation, and ICE officers are finally getting the handcuffs taken off them, and they're going to put them on the bad guys throughout the country.
So what were the ICE guys doing before? You see what I'm saying? What, they were just sitting there? No, they were doing the same job. A lot of these folks that they're pulling up right now are paid actors, like y'all are saying. But this is the news. That's why I want to show it to you, so that we can purge. Letting the news know we only watching y'all shit for content. We don't believe this shit. We know what's really going on. We can see through the bullshit. We're grown people, good minds. Some of us, public educations. And still educated. So America's not dumb. I don't care what Elon says or Vivek Ramaswamy. We're not dumb. We just don't care enough about our education to have it be a real motivator. And that's why most of our kids are like halfway in, halfway out. And then they get to be adults and you realize they were freaking amazing at something the whole time, but you weren't pushing it when they were kids because the school don't care. But that's a whole nother discussion. But America ain't dumb. We see this shit. So on top of, what was this, Fox News. So here we go. We got Fox News, we had CBS, and then we had good old Doc Phil decides to join the fight, and he starts filming the damn immigrants. He starts filming the immigrants. All right, so Meow Meow just jumped in the chat and said these are not paid actors. Are you serious? Okay. You don't think they beefing it up a little bit for the camera on some of these shots? None of them. Like the whole media is 100% authentic. You know what? You are in the right place, okay? Let's let you look at this here. So now we've got
As we saw there in Chicago
Phil.
was Dr. Phil McGraw, the TV host embedded with U.S. immigration enforcement officers during an
Even
operation
Dr. Phil's
in Chicago
using it
on
for
Sunday,
content. Come on,
defending
man.
President Donald Trump's
Fuck
deportation effort. Here's a clip of one of those arrests carried out with the Trump administration border czar Tom Homan.
I'm not gonna say nothing. I'm gonna talk about lawyer.
Yeah. Are you a citizen?
My mom's a citizen.
Your mother's a citizen?
Yes.
But you're not?
Nope.
But you've never been deported before?
We Dr. Phil. We got Dr. Phil.
Oh shit! You
How
recognize
do you
Dr.
know me?
Phil?
No, I seen Dr. Phil, you know, on TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even the migrants are
Yeah.
like Dr. Phil.
Well, this is an example of sanctuary cities, right? We got
See, look at the setup. Look at the setup. They got Tom Homan there. They got Doc Phil. It's cinema, man.
The streets of Chicago.
I'm going to say, I believe the media.
the
They show
downfall.
nothing but the truth. Now,
The
this guy
problem with
might be
sanctuary
getting locked
city,
up,
that people
definitely.
like us walking the street rather than local law enforcement working with federal agents. This is what we're dealing with. Yeah. You've been charged with sex crimes with children?
Not really.
Not really?
This said not really. How do you not
With
really
that,
get
Dr.
charged
Phil
with
McGraw
sex
joins
crimes?
Top Story once again. He's the host of Dr. Phil.
Hold on.
Prime
Before
Time on
I
Merit
let
TV.
Dr. Phil speak, I'm just going to let the audience know. First and foremost, you can't sort of be charged with like sex crimes. You either did some shit and got charged for it, or you didn't do some shit and didn't get charged for it. Okay? And it always be that. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. If all they're moving is illegal people and all of that kind of stuff, who am I as the American populace I'm not going to say I don't care, but what I'm saying is it's not directly affecting me at all. At all. At all. You understand what I'm saying? My job is still here. Nobody's coming to my house or my family's house. Nobody. Now, if you're one of those people that got some split heritage and there's some questionable shit going on, I suggest you get shit together, which is something you probably should have done already. But Dr. Phil is getting content out of this, folks. Doc Phil is showing up. Should I show up at the next? Because I'm not too far from where they're doing deportations. Can I get some content out of it? Should I do that? No, they're not going to let me do it. So we're watching the damn cinema. But just enjoy the cinema. Enjoy the fact that they're trying to pull the wool over your eyes, the fact that it's not being pulled, and you can smell the bullshit. That's why we can laugh about it. We can watch Dr. Phil with his serious ass face. Look at his face. Serious as shit. About, so did you touch any kids? You touch kids? You're a kid toucher? You touch kids, huh? And he's like, no, not really. What the hell does that mean? So anyway, I'll let Doc Phil talk for a hot second, because some people love Dr. Phil. And I've seen some of his shows that are edible. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're digestible is a better word. I can't watch every Dr. Phil show, but there's been a few, especially with like the badass kids. I love when they deal with badass kids, because he deals with the badass kids and he deals with the weak ass parents at the same time. So I always give him credit for that. But anyway.
Dr. Phil, it's great to see you again. So, Dr. Phil, I'm going to ask you this very plainly, right?
Is he?
Everyone knows who you are. You're a psychologist, Hall of Fame broadcaster. You're a
Get
celebrity.
them likes up, guys. Let's get them
what
likes
exactly
up.
were you doing there this weekend?
Yeah, what were you
raids?
doing there? Good question.
Well, Tom, thanks for having me again. It's good to see you again. This is something that I deal with what people are interested in and how it's impacting their lives. And our viewing audience is very interested
that's definitely some privilege.
in these immigration laws and what's happening. It was one of the top issues on people's minds culturally and what's impacting their family. And we talk about the things that people are interested in on Merit TV. And what we want to do is show them with full transparency what's actually happening. And, there's been a lot of talk out there about sweeping through neighborhoods, just picking up people indiscriminately. And I wanted to see if that was happening. Part of my embedding
dude
within
looks
this,
like Busy
this
Bone.
group
Remember
was to
Busy
ask
Bone?
Tom Homan the hard questions. Ask him, are you just sweeping through neighborhoods and picking up people that are here illegally? And he said, no, that's not our intention. We have our plan right now is worst first. We're going after those that have the worst criminal records first. And this is
all right, worst first, okay? Not last, first. So yes, it will come around to some other people, but we'll have to have that conversation later. If you're not here, like I get what y'all trying to say, but I would put money on it. Allison and everybody else that's on some black people are going to get rounded up. I ask you a simple question. Where the fuck are they going to send black people? Africa will not take us, and they can't force Africa to take us because we're not African damn citizens. Never were, and we're not here illegally at this point. So it's not going to happen. So stop messing with my chat with the goofy shit. That's not going to happen. Don't be trying to scare people with the goofy shit. Let's deal with the realness. Black people are not about to get rounded up, put on planes, and sent back to Africa. Okay? So get over it. Even if that's what you want to happen, I'm sorry to let you down. Okay? It's not happening. So let's focus on the real shit. The real shit is the cinematography that's being pushed out in front of you for this deportation bullshit. Meanwhile, they're stopping money from everybody. For those of us that run small businesses, that hurt way more than hearing about deportation. When I heard that I can't get a small business grant for my next business venture, that now I got to wait on putting in that submission. And I went and checked on the site. They're not taking any new submissions. That's real shit, because that was going to build generational wealth for people. Deportation has nothing to do with me and my family. So why the hell do I care? But what I do feel, if I wanted to care that much, right? I don't get to do a damn ride along with Tom Homan on NBC. There's a certain amount of privilege to that. I don't see any black content creators riding along with Tom Homan. So you can throw the race card to whatever degree, but there's some privilege there. You know what I'm saying? There is a little bit there, but that's just the mainstream media. The real media is alternative media, man. I done got more information from people on this YouTube shit than I ever was going to get from the damn news, because the news just want me to be mad at either white people or black people, or then Arab people, or Jewish people, or they just wanted me to be mad at somebody. Why? Because when I'm angry at one group, it keeps me away from seeing what the fuck they doing. And so we mad about what? We mad about what? They're taking people out of the country that aren't supposed to be in the country. I can't stop the federal government from doing that. Those laws exist. They do, unfortunately. And maybe they were being too lackadaisical about it early on, and it got to a point where now we got to put it on Front Street. But it's a mess trying to clean up a mess. So get the fuck over it. If you ain't in danger, you need to be paying attention to this money they stopping from coming into the communities. And we need to be talking about that. Over here worrying about somebody being deported. It's Busy Bone is being deported. Bone Thugs and Harmony is being deported. And Dr. Phil is fine with it. But Dr. Phil said himself, I'm only covering this shit because it's what everybody's talking about. He doesn't even care. You see what I'm saying? So we can look at it, but understand what it is. This is the story. It's easy. There's a lot of them. You know, we got them going into a school. We got them going into this. They're trying to get into the jails. They got this many over the weekend. It's a daily. Okay, cool. What about that money you just stopped, though, bro? What about that? And what's the plan there? Like, is this a temporary thing, or you see what I'm saying? Because there is a whole group dealing with deportation, and that group ain't me. And I'm not going to go stand in front of my U.S. military, of whom I have friends, family members, and everything that's serving, that might get pulled to go deal with that shit. And I hope it goes peacefully. But that's a federal mandate. I have nothing to do with that. What I do have something to do is small business grants, local community grants, minority grants, and these are federal grants that people were taking advantage of. Now, a minority grant in and of itself is a minority grant. Is that covered in DEI? No, because it existed as a minority grant anyway. It wasn't incorporated by DEI. So remember, that which was not included cannot be excluded. It wasn't part of that. But what is happening right now is nobody's getting that shit. So we're going to stop worrying about if they're going to pack up black people. You can miss me with that dumbass shit. I don't know who told you that goofy shit. I'm hoping you just playing. I'm hoping you're not that goofy and ignorant that you really think we're going to witness the United States military that's half black any damn way rounding up their family members and shit. Are you crazy, dude? You dumb if that's what you think. But if you're just trolling, then that was fun. That was fun. Okay? So, in addition to that, in addition to Dr. Phil, I'll let him talk for another 2 minutes because I do have to get out of here soon. Only got a few more minutes left. So thank y'all for coming in. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Understand. Yo, hit that like button, man. Make sure you're hitting that like button. Make sure you're subscribing. We have been battling against the algorithm to get this type of content out for quite some time. And we've been assured that now we'll be able to have reach and a voice so that we can talk to each other and be real and not just watch cinema all the time. And I forgot who said it in the chat. The news became entertainment. So if shit, I can entertain if that's what we're going to do. So let's keep it real. So let me let Phil talk for another minute. Then I'm gonna finish it out with Selena's shit because she was crying about migration and she's out. She's not even. Nobody's looking for her. Wasn't nobody crying when people was going to jail for dumb shit, and families are being broken up for little ass crimes and charges and stuff in America, and then people can't work when they get out of jail. Nobody's crying for that shit. No news outlet is really covering that other than maybe Purge the BS. And it's only because I deal with that all the time. That's actually what I deal with. It's trying to get people to understand that there's a whole population of people out here that don't get to work. And you worrying about illegal. I got a whole staff that'll take them jobs. Now you're going to have to pay them some damn money and not treat them like slaves. But sorry, that's the American way. Fuck out of here. Anyway, I'm getting riled up because ain't nobody said nothing about all of them hundreds of thousands and millions of people that already live here that ain't got no jobs. And ain't no crying for them. And they're filling out applications and doing all that kind of stuff, and they're getting denied left and right. And they're telling you it's not because you black or it's not because you this, but it's really just because you have some blemish on your criminal record. Or they wanted somebody else to be hired. Or you're dealing with like spoof jobs. Like if you go on Indeed and stuff, it'll be a job that's literally just trying to get your information about your last job so that they can prime themselves to sell themselves as a consultant to that company. Just wasting your fucking time. So if we're not crying about that, then I don't want to hear about this shit. Not on no crime. We can talk about it. We can view it. But I don't want to hear nothing about it if we're not going to talk about what's going on right here. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, let me let Phil finish. I'm sorry, guys. I ranted for a second. I apologize.
This is a surgical, tactical plan to go in and get those people. And sanctuary cities are not letting them know when they have these people in custody so they can come to the jail and pick them up. And what's happening with sanctuary cities is they're creating that which they want the least, and that is they're causing these agents, as Gabe was talking about, to go into the communities and arrest these people
this is a good blame
on
game.
the job or
that's a great
in their
negotiation
neighborhoods.
tactic.
And when they go in to get someone that's a violent criminal, whoever's with them, they're going to find out who those people are, and they may wind up arresting them as well.
Everybody got to go. Got to go. Got to go.
That is
got to go. Got to go.
Illegally, they are going to detain them and move them for deportation. That's
gotta
not
go. Got to
going to
go.
happen
That's
if
where
they
they're at
let
with it.
them know when these people are in jail and being released back into the community.
Yeah.
Pick them up right there.
Dr. Phil, from what you saw, were these undocumented immigrants being treated humanely?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I was there at 4 a.m. when they had the debriefing. This was a multi-agency meeting with ICE, DEA, ATF, FBI, U.S. Marshals.
See, y'all got to understand this. The play on this It's for everyone. If you thought that you were going to see inhumane treatment, you're seeing humane treatment. So you're supposed to calm down and not be upset about that. If you wanted to see people get taken away from their wife, even though that's kind of messed up, there's been a couple of those. If you wanted to hear somebody talking trash and say F Trump and I love Joe Biden, you got that one already. So these are just sound bites. It's just cinema. It's all good. At the end of the day, Doc Phil just said it. People are being treated humanely. Most of them were already on the list. They didn't just write the list on Inauguration Day. They've been on the list. They've been knew they was on the list. So we ain't got to worry about the list. Ain't nobody call me and say, hey, you got some illegals at your house. This is not Gestapo, guys. Or maybe you read different history books than I did. Because that's not what this is. This is them saying we had a list of 100,000 people anyway. Can we at least start there? And then the secondary piece of the jails. It's the secondary piece of the jails, right? Where the jails are saying, we're not going to comply with the federal extradition from a jail. They're in jail. That should be the easiest group to grab, is the ones in jail. I wonder why they're not letting them have the ones in jail. Because those motherfuckers are in private prisons that are getting money for that labor. Oh, they not trying to give all that up. Don't think that that's not a factor here. Because they're already in jail. So they're obviously not contributing to the community. So who would care if we got them deported? Why shouldn't we be calling ICE? Have some open beds in this joint. No, they need them bodies. Oh, they need them bodies. So then what they said is, okay, fine. Let's not go into the jails. Since y'all don't want to let us in the jails, now we got to go in the schools. Ooh. You feel me, right? So now we need to take all of that anger that they had. Well, not we, because I'm on the sidelines just watching the game at this point. Because I already see where I'm going to have to be involved is in this federal funding piece of it. And I'm going to have to start talking to my people. And when I say my people, I'm talking about my representatives and making sure that those things are dealt with. Because that directly does affect me, my family, and my generational wealth. So I'm going to be on that, okay? But since y'all want to talk about it, this is why we're doing it. This is why we're doing it. Just to make sure we don't take it too harshly of what is actually going on, okay? This is what people voted for. Doc Phil said ain't nobody been beat up. I done watched a lot of videos because they keep coming down the timeline. I have not seen no crazy violence. Nobody snatching no baby away from their parents. I haven't seen none of that. And you know, if that was the case, it would be on the news. Only woman I done seen crying was the first one who had her appointment canceled. So I'm going to be honest, considering the fact that you got the damn U.S. military, ICE, and local authorities working together to grab up and deport people, and there hasn't been violence, other than something that I think happened down the border. People were just shooting guns around. Nobody got hurt, but there was some gunshots. But other than that, and no, Tamara, you're right. They do make my cigarettes. But guess what? Where there are cigarettes, there are people that will do the same job. We've just normalized our slave labor into inmate labor, which is why the jails don't want to give up the illegals. Uh-oh. I might have cracked something open. I know they're going to come back and talk to me about it later. I get why y'all don't want to give them up, because that doesn't make no sense to me. They're criminals in jail. Like, you're not only charged with something, you are currently sitting in a jail. You're not even on no, pre-trial release program or nothing. No probation. You are in the jail. So I appreciate that you make 305 cigarettes down in good old Dade County at their prison system. But I guarantee that they have more than enough people to do the job. And just from what I know in jail, not that I've ever been on a Tuesday as the first day. So, what I'm saying is in the jails, there's guys that do jobs. And there's other guys that don't do jobs for whatever reason, or they're waiting on a job because they want a specific type of job, or the jail is telling them, and I'll say prison because a lot of people know that there's a difference between a jail and a prison and a penitentiary and stuff like that. There are differences there. But any place that you can stay long enough to have a job is what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the damn holding cell at Central Booking, okay? I'm talking about if you're in a general population, you got to be there for a minute, at least a few months, and you have to, like, get a job. There's a list, and you got to sign up for the jobs. And then you got to, like, sort of get approval from, like, the jail people that you're nice enough to go work. It's a whole process. So people will get those jobs. Ain't nobody worried about the jail jobs not being filled because illegal immigrants went back to their country. Let me tell you what. Ain't nobody really, I'm not going to justify keeping people on slave labor just because it's slave labor. You understand my point, right? We're not even, if we were only focused on families and, hey, we don't want to break up families, we don't want to snatch little kids, I'm with that. I don't want that because that's messy looking and it can traumatize the child. But I'm talking about these niggas in jail and the ones that got skin charges. Because the ones that got skin charges, and y'all know what skin charges are, they don't normally have a good time in jail anyway, so you might as well get them up out of there before somebody really does something to them. I don't want them to be going to a school as a place of sanctuary if they got skin charges. You understand what I'm saying? I don't want them to use the children as a cover if the last thing they did was mess with the children. So I don't want, if they got to go into school to get somebody like that, go get his ass, yo. Gotta go. There's a certain population, and we keep putting everybody in the same group. There's some dirty ass people out there that have done some dirty ass shit, and a lot of them are already on these people's list. They don't even have a tip line yet. They don't even have a tip line. That means all these people are just on the list already, and we got to go get them. That's where they at with it. We're going to go get them. And Cedric B43, thanks for jumping in the chat. You are 100% right, and that's why I'm on Purge of the BS having a conversation about people with criminal records, because I work with that group, and it is very hard, even with non-violent charges. See, violence is different. Violent charges, people are scared. They're like, oh, you might wild out again. But we're talking non-violent charges. Misdemeanor possession, what's the one? Unlawful operation of a vehicle, like that kind of stuff. Like you had a car that wasn't yours, kept it a little too long, that kind of stuff. Yeah, I know some people are like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? No, that stuff happens. Where you can get somebody to let you borrow their vehicle and you don't bring it back fast enough and they call the police on you. And you end up with a charge for basically stealing a car that was borrowed. So these little charges, when a job sees it, they don't see that the guy smoked crack and you gave him some crack to borrow his car and he wanted more crack and didn't give you all the time that you were supposed to get with the car. So he called the police because he was mad that you wouldn't give him more crack. The job doesn't see all of it. Okay? They just see you took somebody's car. So I apologize if I said too much about things that I know very little about. Very little about, okay? And I just think that everybody needs to understand that population is who needs them jobs. They're not black jobs. There's a lot of black people, but not everybody in jail is black. Brix, that was what I was covering. You must have missed that segment about him freezing all the federal loans. That's what I said we need to be focused on. Because that affects small businesses, that affects nonprofits, that affects everybody else. But see, like Cedric B is mentioning, this criminal conversation needs to be one that's had. Because, yeah, illegal immigrants is one thing, but there are legal citizens that have criminal histories and literally cannot work. And there was no EEOC for that. There was nothing listed on EEOC that said anything about criminal history. If you look at it, it was race, religion, sexual preference, all types of shit. But having a criminal record, oh, no. You go back to the 13th Amendment on that. You see what I'm saying? You could be used for slave labor. You barely a citizen. You lucky you even got voting rights for those that do. So that's the conversation that I want to have, because if we got that kind of an implication on the regular population, then how the hell can a person be president with the same problem, right? So not taking away from the job that he got as the president, but my point is, if we don't mind the president having some type of a criminal record, then why the hell do we mind the guy at the supermarket who's stocking shelves having a criminal record? You see what I'm saying? And that guy is probably going to be one of your best workers because he can't even get a job nowhere else, which is why the migrants were doing some of these jobs so well, because they was trying to stay under the radar. They were trying to, do good jobs to get people happy and have people keep them around. So yeah, they were doing stuff for little ass prices, but that wasn't what was supposed to be done. So years ago, if you guys didn't know, they had imparted a bunch of stuff to like penalize, the businesses who were using the slave labor. And make sure the likes is up. I can't even see the likes right now. I don't know what they are, but just get the likes up, okay? That's your only cost. A like, a subscribe, and a quick conversation.